Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Scenic Route Astrology. My name is Makayla. I'm an evolutionary astrologer, and today we're talking about the Pisces full moon that is today, September 10th. The Pisces full moon actually happened at 5:59 a.m. East Coast time, so you'll want to adjust for your time zone. And I hope that you find this video either today or tomorrow, the next couple of days, to help process through this energy. Very interesting chart, very interesting full moon. And I wanted to take some time to reflect on the energy myself, to feel into it, because this is a water full moon and it deeply requires us to tap and tune into a type of energy that really needs to be felt on a very deep, deep level, and kind of move through to for me to give you proper guidance on how I'm experiencing this and how I think many of us might be experiencing this. So if you're new to my channel, please hit the like button and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be informed when I post new videos. I do a lot of lunar guidance videos, and I also do just random astrology, and working on growing my channel over here. So deeply love YouTube. Thanks, YouTube. And it helps with the algorithm and to share this knowledge. So I'm just going to get right into the energy. I want to let you know I use an astrology software where I can provide a 10% off discount for anybody who's interested, who's really working on astrology on a personal level and likes to track their transits. I highly recommend it. It's super affordable. It's only a few bucks a month. And you can also get a yearly subscription. I think it's 30 or 40 bucks around there, and you get a 10% off discount with my code. That will just be down in the link below. You can cancel at any time, and I've been using this software for a few years now. I have a few different astrology software programs, and they're all amazing, but this one is my favorite. And that's why I decided to become an affiliate with Luna Astrology Software, because the company is amazing. They keep adding all these new amazing features. Keep a lookout too, because I'm going to be putting some videos out very soon on how to use the astrology software if you're like completely new or you're kind of just trying to figure it out. It's incredible and it's beautiful and it's super Pisces. So I think the creator has a Pisces moon in his chart, if I remember right. So it's going to be nice while we're discussing the energy today. So before I pull up the chart, I kind of want to get us into what's going on in the sky right now and how it might be affecting us on a very humanistic level here. And we have so many planets in retrograde in the sky right now and making really incredible aspects with one another. And to me, the whole chart is breathing in such a deep, intimate way that it really requires us to be really introspective right now and really go within, really slow down time for a little bit and focus in on what your inner being is really calling you to do and really connecting with the mind and the body and the spirit on all these different levels. Pluto retrograde, Neptune retrograde, Uranus, Saturn, Jupiter, Mercury, Chiron retrograde, okay? When a planet is retrograde, it means a few things, but as a transit, it's really requiring you to pull back the rein a little bit and go within in that section of your chart and what the meaning of that planet is, and focus in on what it means for you to do that planet and to perform that archetype. We are moving into an age of Aquarius where it's very much about the individual, but it's also about uniting humanity. And that kind of seems like a paradox, right? When we're thinking about, well, how can I be such an individual, but then also be really connected to the rest of humanity in the world so that we're all operating together on this one universal type of synchronistic type of level. And if we think about it on the macrocosm level, we have a lot of shifts going on, right? Ironically, and just you can't make this up with the astrology, but Queen Elizabeth's passing right before this Pisces full moon is a major, significant landmark in our time, in our age, right? Like our lifetime that we're living in, where, you know, a reign of a monarchy has just completed a huge cycle. And that's very Piscean, right? Pisces is the 12th house, is Neptune, right? It resembles the completion of an entire cycle and the dissolving of something and the letting go, the surrender to what that is. And in some ways, Pisces can be painful because we have to surrender and let go to an attachment that we once had, or a full cycle that has brought us throughout our whole entire life, or a portion of our life, you know, whether that is a year or 7 years, right? Or 20 years of some sort, right? I imagine that for many of us, there is some type of completion and this surrender and this letting go of a specific time in our life, no matter how long or short. It can be 6 months, it can be a few years, okay? Where we've had to tap into the meaning of what creation is in the cycle of birth and then life, but then also that process of death. And death is not an easy topic for humans to move through, okay? And through my mediumship training that I've been doing over the last few months with Tom Jacobs, I've gotten to learn a lot about the dynamics of death and seeing through the lens of death and the passing of loved ones and what that means on a different level. And I myself haven't experienced yet a lot of death in my personal family of loved ones. But the work that I've been doing, I think, is going to prepare me for when that time will come, because we do have to lose our loved ones at one point or another. I'm deeply connected and close to my grandparents, and they're still thankfully with me. But at one point, I realized that that is going to confront me, and I'm going to have to face those moments. But when you start to realize what Pisces really is about, you realize that even though there becomes a completion of a cycle, that energy is not lost. Energy is never destroyed, and it simply evolves itself into a new creation of some sort, and it kind of just moves through the body and flows. And actually, I just came into this realization right now that a good friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, she's a Cancer, and she just lost a dog. And I said to her when I met with her, because she does my hair too, when I met with her, I said, this is probably around the time that you're going to get pregnant, because when we lose one child, you know, the energy that we've invited into our space and into our life and into our world on such an intimate level gets recreated in some way, okay? And it actually makes space and for new creation to flow through, and she's pregnant. Right? So it was incredible to just, and I've been seeing this in so many of my clients and my good friends' lives right now, this process of this cycle of energy just kind of releasing in one aspect of the life, but gaining in another aspect. And because all of these planets are retrograde, I hope that you can sit in this space and understanding right now that you have the ability to pause the brakes, to put the brakes on some certain dynamics of your life so that you can become really clear and purify the energy in your life that you have right now. because what you're working with right now is going to continue evolving through a cycle. So if there are certain energy dynamics that you feel are unhealthy in your life and aren't bringing you a sense of satisfaction or joy, safety, security, empowerment, independence, freedom. Okay. And I'm actually listing off dynamics of all the planets that are retrograde because it's important that we look at all of these aspects in order for us to move forward in our life. If you're not feeling like some of this energy is pure and clean, now is the time that you purify it and you filter it. The sun in Virgo wants you to discern between which energy in wholeness of your life, Pisces full moon, is dirty or is clean enough for you to drink. Very much think about this as like the water in the cup of your life, and would you drink that? Because this energy cannot go anywhere. Like, say you have a very toxic relationship, right? That is an energy of itself. Don't think of the person, but think of the relationship that you have, okay? And take the energy, the love exchange between that relationship, right? Because it's a love that you're giving out for this person. It's not necessarily the person, but it's more of a deeper understanding of like what it feels to have this love for this person. If it is causing you pain on such a deep level, it's a time to reflect on every dynamic of this relationship. And can you process it and purify it with that person? Or do you need to pull back the energy and purify it yourself and then give that same energy and that love that you have to something else? Okay. And I don't believe in cutting cords, with my spirituality, my spiritual practice. I don't even believe in killing spiders, and I am terrified of spiders, and I had to call my neighbor today to remove one safely out of my apartment. But how can you preserve the life of the energy that you've already created and established in your life? Because everything is retrograde right now. So it's really not about starting new, and especially around a full moon, it's about reflecting and looking at everything that is in the present moment in time, because everything is being illuminated. And because this has to do with Pisces in itself, it is the wholeness of the chart, the wholeness of your chart, the wholeness of where the world is going towards right now. And because the sun is in Virgo, it gives us an opportunity to be humble around the honesty in a way of what you need to work on, what needs to be, transmuted and just cleaned up in a different way. And forgive me if this is a little slow, but I'm really trying to feel into Pisces energy. And if you've ever tried to describe Pisces, you'll understand that you can automatically just feel the energy of kind of getting lost out in the abyss of the sea. And it's not a negative thing. It's just because Neptune and Pisces in the 12th house hold so much consciousness, and there's no boundaries, right? It's the entire ocean itself. It's the entire abyss of the cosmic sky that holds everything. It's the womb, where life, if the womb of the mother, where life is actually created within, and how powerful and potent all of this is, and how difficult it is to put into actual words, but more feeling energy. I wish like we were just telepathic enough where I could just stare into this video screen and just be like, this is what it means. And, and it would and it would translate the energy in such a way, um, because that's what Pisces embodies. it's the outpost. Out at sea. I forget what it's awful, but I forget what ancient astrology right now talks about that. It just being you know, I'll just say like if you're a ship out at sea and it's the lighthouse, you know what I mean? That Neptune would be the lighthouse in the fog where you can see the light and it will just come ever so often, you know what I mean? But you're still in the fog and the eeriness of everything. Um, and so, you know, a lot of our loved ones and stuff might struggle right now with addiction and get swallowed into addictive patterns. Looking for connection and looking for meaning and um, looking for solitude in what might feel like your energetic boundaries are just getting penetrated by everything all around you. And if that is you yourself and you're feeling that, like it's normal to be feeling in this openness of all. Um, it can be very overwhelming at times when we have strong Pisces uh transits in our charts to figure out where we're going or where we're headed. And you know, with all these planets retrograde, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, well, Mercury, I counted 7 because of Chiron is retrograde, but then also Mars is in a retrograde shadow. Okay, so 8 9 counting, like so many and planets now in retrograde pulling us back, pulling our energy back, asking us to revisit things in our life. And it might feel like the world is crushing you or some dynamic of life. It could, you know, not for everybody, of course, it depends on your chart, but it could feel overwhelming in a sense. Like the cup is overflowing, you know what I mean? Or you're just waterlogged even. So my suggestion is to literally make yourself sit in the knowing that you need to ground yourself and that you have to practice sending cords into the earth, like energetic cords into the earth. Because when we're dealing with Pisces, we're not dealing with tangible things. You know, I can't be real with you and just say, like, hold this rock. And I mean, if you hold some tiger iron, actually, it probably will definitely ground you and help you. So I definitely suggest tiger iron. But I can't promise that things are going to feel okay. And you might just have to ride the emotional wave that comes at you and find what spirit really wants you to feel and see and learn. Um, and I'm not afraid to talk about my emotions. You guys who follow me now, you know that I'm pretty open and honest, because I just believe in honesty and transparency here. You know, but I had a moment earlier today. I had crazy profound dreams last night. And if you're having these dreams right now, please write them down, listen to them. If you feel tired in the afternoon, take a nap. But before you take a nap, ask for guidance. All right, on and this goes for the next couple of months while all these planets are retrograde, and when they begin to move direct, which we'll have videos out to understand the energy and how to move forward with that directness. But right now, while you have this time to have some solitude and reflection, um, ask your higher self to provide you messages in your sleep and reflect on those messages when you wake. You know, and then have a quick cathartic cry if you do. And like I did this afternoon, and and I let it go, and you just let it release and sit down for a minute and just let it go through. You don't fight it. This isn't fighting energy. You know what I mean? This is surrender type of energy. This is like reminding yourself that these emotions are here, but they're fleeting. Okay. And that um riding that emotional wave is necessary to let the energy flow through your body, because again, if you just store it and store it and store it and suppress it, it causes more damage to the soul and to the self and to the psyche. we might not always have the answers with astrology too. And I do want to point that out, is that astrologers can guide you, and these videos can guide you to understand and get more clarity, but we can't give you the answers, because ultimately the only answer is within yourself, and only you, the individual human, is going to know exactly what this energy means for you. And it might be hard to get there, and you might feel frustrated at times, especially again with all the retrograde, that you're not there yet, but please understand that that's okay, and you don't need to be if you're not, and you don't need to have the full picture yet. Just allow these little pieces and these little illuminations in the sky, like this Pisces full moon, to give you more insight into the bigger story unfolding in your life. We're living in incredibly powerful times where we're right in the middle of a major shift. And I think everyone can feel this now. And we're all a part of the new worlds that we're going to be living in, and the way that humanity is shifting, and the way that we can connect ourselves to the animals and to the earth and to spirit and religions and belief systems and so forth. And be gentle with yourself also during this full moon, because everybody, include you yourself included, and everyone else, be gentle with other people too, because everyone's going and getting their little internal inner child ass kicked, you know, and they're trying to figure out something in their life. So to be gentle with yourself also allows space for you to realize, I need to be gentle with others too, because I need that. I need that as well, right? So I'll pull up the chart, of course, so we can see what I'm talking about. I can point out some aspects that we're dealing with, and move forward. So let me share the screen. Okay. Here is the chart for the beautiful full moon today. So you can see it's happening at 17 degrees and 41 minutes, Virgo, Pisces. So if you have any planets within 5 degrees on each side of 17, so, you know, it'll be in any of the mutable signs, in Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgo, or Pisces, you'll definitely be feeling this. And I actually have two very close Pisces friends that have 16 degrees sun signs in Pisces. And so it's really funny. It's how I was attracting all this crazy Pisces energy around this full moon. So or if, you know, if you're a Gemini and Sag, you'll be getting a square. So there'll be a tension, either you know, if you're a Gemini, there'll be a major phase closing for your sun sign. Or if you're a Sagittarius, there'll be a new phase developing in your life that has illumination. So, you know, Geminis, you're illuminating on something that's kind of coming to an ending, into a closure. Sagittarius, you're illuminating on something that's beginning new, that's beginning fresh in your life. And it kind of feels like 2 steps forward and 1 step back in some cases. And change is on the horizon, but may not be necessarily assured what that whole change means yet. If you're a Virgo, sun, moon, or rising, you know, you're getting that opposition, so you need the balance, and you need to understand and look at what is requiring you to have some sort of balance in your life. And if you're dealing with Pisces, um sun, moon, or rising, you know, you're either getting a new moon, or you're getting a lunar return of some sort, and it's just, there's a lot of releasing and newness evolving for you on some type of level, and it's very, very significant. So you want to pay attention to that. The lunar cycles are so potent and powerful. But what I wanted to point out more so is, and please excuse my dog if he's hungry, so I have to feed him after this video. Come here, Nuggy. Come on. what I want to point out for sure is that there is a trine to the South Node in Scorpio, and there is a sextile to the Uranus North Node in Taurus. And of course, we want to focus on the nodes. We're halfway through this nodal cycle in Scorpio and Taurus. Okay, so this is a significant time to really reflect on, what's going on. And that, hold on. Hey, hey, hey. All right, guys, most of you know I have chow babies that I always have to deal with. So, anyway, back to the nodes. We're halfway through this nodal cycle, so it's a good check-in also with this full moon to be like, okay, what's showing up for me in the Scorpio Taurus area of my life? All right, what have I learned halfway through this transition? Because I guarantee you're feeling a lot in these areas. And it's a good check-in because remember, we still have halfway to go. So you can kind of recalibrate right now. You're not done with that energy, but you can recalibrate. And the full moon would really help you understand that because it's nice, easy aspects, okay? And we can get a little complacent with easy aspects, right? They can kind of slip away from us. So it's really important to, point out the trines and the sextiles, because with a square or an opposition, we know it's there. It's like, hi, here, deal with me. I'm right here, right? This is in your face. And it just creates that tension that needs to be dealt with. But the trines and the sextiles can almost slip away, and that's why it's good, that we're learning astrology and we're doing astrology, using it as a tool for guidance, right? So this full moon in Pisces is illuminating that Pisces era of your chart, and so the trine, the South Node, it is in a first quarter phase, okay? Trine, first quarter phase trine. So this is about integrating all of the lessons that you have learned from this South Node in Scorpio, okay? And that just doesn't mean just South Node transiting in Scorpio. That also means any Scorpio placements that you have in the Scorpio part of your chart in the 8th house and where Pluto is, okay? So reflect on what your soul's desires have been and these times in your life where you have significantly gone through challenges and hardship, where you've experienced loss and betrayal and abandonment in ways. Reflect on ways that you've changed and evolved over the years of your life. And also reflect on the attachments that you have had, okay? And not just physical attachments. Like, yes, we can reflect on how it felt to let go of a house and why we wanted to hold on to the house so much or blah, 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 right? I mean, they're just things when it comes down to it. Yes, they're very important. I have a strong 4th house. I love my home. It's very important to me. But we also have to understand that sometimes those things we have to let go of them, right? And I've had 2 house fires in my lifetime. So I've had to let go of my house twice already due to a full house fire. So attachments in other ways. Were you attached to a psychological part of yourself that you felt like is your identity, and then all of a sudden it doesn't resonate with you anymore, and you're like, I don't even know who I am anymore, right? And you had to go through that dynamic. So I'm talking about this with this first quarter phase integration trine, okay? Because this South Node in Scorpio is asking you to let go of those attachments that aren't serving your soul anymore, and could possibly bring you that new energy we're looking at, okay? Because it's significant. It's trining that full moon. It's saying, hey, let's integrate the lessons learned from all the times that we've experienced loss. Because most of us, I won't say all of us, but most of us will go through very traumatic times in our life that are really hard to go through, right? The loss of a loved one, the loss of a parent, a child, like parents aren't, bury their childs, right? And I'm sorry if I'm bringing this up for some of you who've been through this, but, it's a very valid, hard thing to go through in life, the loss of a pet, right? And what did you learn from that experience? Like, what did that teach you? Like, besides the fact that it was painful and it was hurtful, right? the loss of a job that you deeply loved, and maybe you got fired for and it wasn't deserving, or something, loss of a position or something like that. Okay. We can look at this in so many ways. The loss of our freedom, Roe versus Wade. Okay. And I mean, I mourned on that day. I was crying. I was very upset. So on a, like, that's on a bigger scale. You know what I mean? So how can we integrate the lessons of understanding what we've learned about our past and what we're leaving behind? But you're never really leaving it behind, because you've integrated something from that lesson, from that dynamic. You know, the loss of a marriage, for instance, right? You know, hopefully, you know, we find peace in those dynamics, and we figure out more about ourselves through these really significant and powerful and potent emotional times in our life. And that's really what the South Node in Scorpio is asking you to do, because it's also still squaring you know, a Saturn. Okay, so don't forget, now we still have Saturn squaring the nodes, asking us, and it's retrograde, asking us to reflect on our own responsibility. Okay, and asking us to be objective on our own responsibility. But it's not about going forward with it right now. It's about reflecting and retrieving dynamics that we've learned, and figuring out a new way to innovate the future. And these things cannot be rushed. They really cannot. So please don't rush your life right now, or feel like you have to rush through life dynamics, because you need time to integrate and to process psychologically. We're human beings. We're not machines. We're not computers. Okay. Like, we're actual living, breathing human beings with a soul that is so much beyond our consciousness can even imagine. Okay. And we have multiple lifetimes under our belts. We have to go with the flow, everybody, with this Pisces full moon video. My best friend just arrived. So anyway, I'm going to finish the recording. So now that we understand what this Scorpio South Node trine, right, with the full moon is meaning, let's also look at the North Node, right? Of course, we have to look at both nodes. So sextile Uranus North Node. Now, Uranus is kicking our asses in the Taurus part of our chart as well, because it's creating change around a fixity of energy that we've been holding of value to, and we've been possessing value over. Okay. And Taurus can be very stubborn. It likes its things. It likes to hold on to its values. It's not easy to let go with any fixity energy, with Scorpio, with Aquarius, with Leo, right? With Taurus. It takes a really big push for the fixed signs to make any sort of change. But we have this lovely, again, lumination with this Pisces full moon making the sextile. If we can integrate the dynamics of the South Node that we just talked about, we can now transition the past and the dynamics around Scorpio, all of the past lessons that we've learned, and we can initiate that and transition them into the future, which does reflect what the North Node means. The North Node is our evolution. It's the way that we're heading, right? It's the path forward, right? And then also conjunct Uranus, which represents the future, the higher mind, the wisdom that is beyond our conscious dynamic. Usually it's the higher octave of Mercury, right? So it's where we get downloads of information that we actually don't really know where it comes from right now. And it's also liberation, because Uranus and Taurus wants us to create the change and the innovation and the liberation dynamics of our life. So it's deeply asking you to transition, not forget. It's not about forgetting the past. It's not about letting go as far as like it's not there anymore, because that's not real. That is just not real. It's always there. It's in the memory, but it's about transitioning, incorporating it, and driving that into the future purpose. And that's what really Uranus and Taurus wants us to do, because also think about it. Taurus wants to hold on to its possessions. So for some of us, it might help you actually integrate your life going forward, knowing that you don't have to let go of things in the sense that you have to forget it or it's not there anymore. You just have to let go of like the psychological attachment that it might not be able to stay the same, but you can still incorporate whatever it is that's representing that South Node in Scorpio to you. You can still incorporate that into the future, but you can just do it in a new, innovative way. Okay, in a new purpose, new light. And again, remember, take your time with this because you're also getting this full moon is squaring Mars, and Mars is in its pre-shadow retrograde. It's in its shadow retrograde motion right now. It's going to go all the way to 25 degrees Gemini. It's going to station, it's going to go back. It's going to go all the way back to, I think, 8 degrees Gemini, and then it's going to go forward again. So you're going to get hits through 8 to 25 of Gemini 3 times over the next 8 months, where these choices are so these dynamics we're going to be dealing with for the next 8 months. Okay, so you'll have choices. I wouldn't be surprised if many people are dealing with 2 roads and 2 paths and 2 dynamics. And I am going to be putting out a deeper video on this Mars retrograde cycle because it's really important. And I've just been working on a bigger webinar for that for everybody to understand because it's so long and it means so much. But in relation to this full moon, it is making a square to that. So you're very much going to feel like you're taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back because that's what cardinal energy does. Okay. So Mars is a cardinal sign. It's ruled by Aries, so it's cardinal. So when we're dealing with Mars, Aries, or the first house, it does take on that quality of 2 steps forward and 1 step back. And that's okay. And I want people to not get frustrated if you are dealing with that in certain aspects of your life. It's just the way that the energy is showing up. And it's good to see both sides to the story and to remember that there's going to be more information that's fed to you over what you're dealing with in your life as the transits move forward. But this Pisces full moon, again, will really give you an illumination on the sensitivity to what you might be feeling and the process of surrender and how important that is right now, especially with, again, as you can see, all these planets are retrograde in the chart right now. Another dynamic that I wanted to point out, and we're almost done with the video, was this is also a process of creating a clean slate for you in the chart. Because all of these planets are retrograde, that you get to again, go within and understand what can be revised in your life or what can you kind of clean out more, especially with the sun in Virgo and then Venus in Virgo, right? Because Virgo wants to purify things. And with Venus now being in Virgo for the next month, Venus rules over our values and it rules over our relationship dynamics. It's the relationship that we have not only with ourselves, but with other human people, our intimate relationships, our friendships, our client relationships. Okay. And I don't want us to get into the mindset of perfection with Virgo because Virgo does it does have that quality in the negative state that it wants to be perfect, but nothing is perfect in life. And that's why Pisces is opposite to it, because it's about surrendering to the chaos sometimes. So it's really about just cleaning up the edges. It's really about being discerning about what is important and what is of value to you in your relationships, in the things that you want to create. Because also Venus has to rule over the things that we want to put our creative energy into, right? So some of us might not value relationships as much as we do as like our work, right? Or our business that we run. And that's really the relationship that we have to life right now. And that's okay. It just automatically made me think of, I don't even know if Elon Musk has any Virgo in his chart. I know he has a lot of Aquarius or Aquarius North Node, but he loves his work so much that he is always perfecting his craft and always being really detailed into how and what he's creating and doing. Okay, so that dynamic can show up in us is what is really important to us, ethically even, and time to clean up and purify that water again, like we talked about, the water that you're drinking right now. Mercury is also retrograde, so you can expect the normal Mercury and retrograde things like pausing a video a few times because your dogs are barking, right? Like it's a technical thing, or phone issues, or making sure that you're, backing up your files and things like that. If we're just talking about the perspective of what can happen on a very mundane level, take care of your electronics, right? Be careful with your words as well, because there's so much air going on with Mars and Gemini. People can use their words too quickly. That creates sharp pain in people, or can say things too fast because Gemini is really fast, that you might want to take back, because often with Gemini we have to do things twice. So it's important that you're thinking about the words that you're saying, and reflecting on that, as Mercury is retrograde. You might want to take back something that you once said. Another thing is people from the past can show up. We can, and I encourage you that if that does happen, to listen to what they have to say, because there might be a message that would help you illuminate what's going on in this process right now in your life. Okay. Everything is introspective, so many retrogrades. So just slow down and be easy with yourself during this time. I'm going to stop sharing the screen because I think we covered, just to me, the importance of really what this full moon is about and how it's going to be leading into the next week ahead, going forward. But one last thing is that came to me as well, is that because there's an element of suffering that can come with the Pisces dynamic. If there is some type of suffering that you feel you're experiencing right now, I was watching the Lord of the Rings new series with my best friend last night, and it's on Amazon. If you guys haven't seen it, it's pretty good. And one of the quotes in there was, it just struck out to me, and it really felt like it illuminated the full moon. And one of the characters said, "Sometimes we cannot know the light to follow unless we have touched the darkness." And because the Pisces archetype is about that releasing and that energy that we talked about in the beginning of the video, it's really important to me that I send the message out that if you are experiencing some suffering, or you're seeing other people going through suffering and you're feeling their pain because you're feeling that porous energy, we have to go through these parts of life, because the more, I truly believe, the more darkness that we see and that we experience, also the brighter our light can become. And it is about, Pisces is the polarity. It is the yin yang, right? It's the two fishes that are swimming in opposite directions. Okay, so it really does depict the polarity of everything, of all of creation. Okay, and that nothing is for no reason at all. So if you find yourself in this chaotic mess, okay, just realize that, like, the universe is unfolding for you, and that it's not for no reason. Okay, it's divinely connected to your purpose, and you're on the exact path that you need to be, especially if you're here now listening to this video and looking for astrology guidance. So everybody, thank you so much for being patient during this video, dealing with my baby chows. And if you haven't yet, please hit like and subscribe, and I will be back again soon. And please feel free to drop me a comment down below and let me know how this energy has been unfolding for you, and if anything has resonated at all. Okay, I'll be back again soon. Thank you so much. Bye.